All right, so buckle up because today we are taking a deep dive into a film that's been requested a lot, The Clovehitch Killer. And let me tell you, we're going way beyond just a typical thumbs up or thumbs down here. You guys wanted something with more depth, and well, I think we found some pretty fascinating analysis on this one.
It's one of those films that really gets under your skin. Like on the surface, it presents this picture-perfect small town, where everything seems so safe and innocent.
Yeah, totally.
And then, boom, it pulls the rug out from under you.
I can't wait to dig into that. But first, for those who maybe haven't seen the film, can you kind of set the stage? Who are the main players here?
So we meet Tyler Burnside, this 16-year-old kid living what seems like a pretty normal life with his
The
family.
typical teenager.
You'd think so, right? But then he makes this discovery, this really disturbing discovery that changes everything.
Okay, now you've got to tell me, what does he find?
So he's going through some of his dad's stuff, and he stumbles across a collection of photographs.
Photographs, huh? Like
Yeah.
family photos?
Oh, not exactly. These are, well, they're pretty disturbing. And what makes it even more chilling is that they seem to be connected to these unsolved murders that happened in the town years ago.
Unsolved murders. Whoa, that's intense. So right away, there's this suspicion cast on the dad.
Exactly. And what makes it even more complicated is that the father, Don Burnside, is like this pillar of the community.
The perfect dad trope.
Totally. He's a devout Christian, a scout leader. Everyone looks up to him.
Okay, so you've got this seemingly perfect family, this idyllic small town, and then bam, this dark secret emerges. That's a classic thriller setup for sure.
It is. But what sets the Clovehitch Killer apart is that it goes beyond just the surface level. It really delves into this idea of duality.
Duality, like how?
Like on the surface, Don Burnside is this respected figure, right? But then there's this potential darkness lurking beneath that facade.
Right. Like the saying, the devil you know wears a suit. Or in this case, maybe a scout leader uniform.
Exactly. And that contrast, that tension between appearance and reality, is what makes the film so compelling. You see it not just in the characters, but also in the setting itself.
Ah, I see what you're saying. So it's not just about a whodunit. It's also about these deeper themes.
Right. It's about the facades we create, the secrets we keep, and the lies we tell ourselves and others.
And how those things can fester beneath the surface of what appears to be normal.
Precisely. And that's where the film's really effective use of cinematography comes in. Like the muted color palette, the slow, deliberate pacing it all creates this unsettling atmosphere, this sense of dread that permeates the entire film.
Yeah, I remember feeling that sense of unease, like something was off, even in those seemingly ordinary scenes.
That's exactly what the director does so well. It's not about jump scares or gore. It's about this slow burn, this psychological tension that just gets under your skin.
Makes you question everything and everyone, right? So how does Tyler react when he finds those photos? Like, what does he do with this bombshell?
You'd expect him to like freak out, right?
Totally. I mean, finding something like that about your own dad, that's got to be earth-shattering.
Yeah, and the film really captures that initial shock and disbelief. Like Tyler doesn't want to believe it, he just can't process it. But as he starts to look closer, those feelings start to shift.
Dropped into what?
Suspicion. He starts to notice things about his dad. Little things that maybe wouldn't have seemed strange before. But now they take on this whole new meaning.
I bet. Like everything you thought you knew is suddenly in question.
Exactly. It's like the foundation of his world is starting to crumble. Right. And the film really puts us in his shoes, It makes us experience that conflict right along with him.
That internal struggle must be agonizing. I mean, how do you even begin to reconcile the love you have for your father with the possibility that he's capable of something so horrific?
And that's what's so brilliant about this film, right? It doesn't offer any easy answers. It forces us to confront those really uncomfortable questions about family, loyalty, and the nature of truth.
So it's not just about solving a mystery. It's about this deeper exploration of human nature.
Right. And as Tyler digs deeper, the film takes us on this really unsettling journey. We see him interacting with the families of the Clovehitch Killer's victims, and it just adds this whole other layer of weight to the story.
Oh, wow. That's a great point. I didn't even consider that element.
It's powerful stuff, Seeing the pain and the grief that these murders have caused, it really brings home the stakes for Tyler. It's like this constant reminder of the potential consequences, if he chooses to ignore the truth.
Man, that's heavy. So we've got this amazing performance by Dylan McDermott as the dad, this incredible buildup of suspense. And then we have Tyler grappling with this huge moral dilemma. Talk about a recipe for a gripping film.
It is. And the director really knows how to keep the audience on the edge of their seats. But, like we talked about earlier, he does it without resorting to those cheap thriller tricks.
Yeah, you mentioned something about avoiding typical tropes.
Right, like there's no jump scares, no gratuitous violence. It's all about atmosphere and suggestion.
Okay, so how does he achieve that? Like, what are some of the techniques he uses?
Well, the muted color palette that we talked about earlier, that definitely plays a big role. It creates this sense of unease, this feeling that something's not quite right.
It's like the colors themselves are reflecting the darkness that's lurking beneath the surface.
Exactly. And then there's the use of close-ups. The director often focuses on the characters' faces, especially Tyler's.
Ah, I see. So we're seeing the emotions play out in these really intimate moments.
Precisely. It draws the audience in. It makes us feel like we're right there with Tyler, experiencing his fear, his confusion, his doubt.
So we're really getting into the psychology of the character.
Exactly. And of course, Dylan McDermott's performance is just phenomenal. He manages to convey this, quiet menace that's absolutely chilling.
Oh, for sure. You're never quite sure if you should trust him, which makes every scene he's in so tense.
Right. And as the film builds to this inevitable confrontation between Tyler and his father, you just know that it's going to be explosive.
Okay, so without spoiling anything for our listeners, can you talk about how that confrontation plays out?
It's definitely a pivotal moment in the film. I'll just say that Tyler is forced to make a choice, and no matter what he chooses, the consequences are going to be devastating.
Man, that's heavy stuff. It makes you wonder what you would do in a similar situation. Would you confront the truth, even if it meant tearing your world apart? Or would you try to protect yourself, maybe even deny what's right in front of you?
That's the power of this film, right? It leads you with those questions. It makes you think about the complexities of human relationships, the choices we make, and the consequences that ripple outward from those choices.
This whole deep dive has just been so insightful. It's made me realize that The Clovehitch Killer is more than just a thriller. It's a film that stays with you long after you've seen it. Thinking about everything we've discussed, one of the things that really sticks with me is that question of, can people truly escape their pasts? I mean, the film doesn't give us a straight answer, does it?
It really doesn't.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of what makes it so thought-provoking, right? It leaves us wrestling with that question, considering the lasting impact of trauma and the possibility of redemption.
That's so true. Because, if someone does something truly horrific, can they ever truly come back from that? Can they ever really atone for what they've done?
That's a question that, it's a question that has haunted humanity for centuries, really. And the Clovehitch Killer kind of adds another layer to it, doesn't it? I mean, by exploring it within this family dynamic, it just makes it all the more unsettling.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact that it all takes place against the backdrop of this seemingly idyllic small town, that just adds to the complexity, too.
Oh, absolutely, because we often have this idea of small towns being these safe havens, right? Places where everyone knows each other, where things are simple.
Oh, right. Kind of like this idealized vision of community.
Exactly. But then the Clovehitch Killer comes along and kind of flips that on his head, It reminds us that darkness can exist anywhere, even in the most picture-perfect places.
And that even the people we think we know, the people closest to us, can have secrets, right? Secrets that, that can be pretty terrifying.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that I think makes this film so effective. It doesn't shy away from that darkness. It forces us to confront the fact that, that evil can lurk beneath the surface of any community, any family, any individual.
It's definitely not a feel-good movie, that's for sure. But there's something about it that, that just draws you in.
Oh, absolutely. And for those who are looking for a film that will challenge them, that will make them think, that will stay with them long after the credits roll,
then The Clovehitch Killer is definitely worth a watch.
It really is.
Well, there you have it, folks. Our deep dive into The Clovehitch Killer. We've explored the themes, the characters, the cinematography. What a film.
A real psychological thriller, that's for sure.
And I think it's safe to say that this one will definitely be sticking with us for a while.
I think so, too.
And remember, if there's a film, a TV show, a book, anything really that you'd like us to take a deep dive into, just let us know. We love getting your requests and exploring all these different worlds with you. So until next time, keep those requests coming and keep diving deep.